Hello and welcome to Fixed Monthly Value Between Dates. My name's Jeff, I'm glad you're here. Let's just jump right in. I was recently asked the following question. I want to enter start and end dates and want to add a fixed value for the first day of each month. And I'm going to show you how in this video. Exercise 1. So just to be clear, the idea is to add this fixed amount to the first day of every month that falls between the start and end date. We're going to talk through several approaches. Our first approach is going to be where we list each day. What that looks like is this: equals sequence. The number of rows we want are the number of days, and the number of days are basically this minus this plus 1. And we want it to start at this value. Close function and enter. And now what we get is a list of all of the days between the start and end date inclusive. And if we scroll down, we can confirm it goes all the way to 331. And we want to add $100 or whatever is here in C7 on every first day of the month. So one way we can do this is to go equals if the day of this, and we're going to use the spill reference operator, is equal to 1, then we're going to put in whatever's here. Otherwise, it's 0. Close function and enter. And now on January 1st, we get 100, and then we get a bunch of zeros. On February 1st, we get 100, and then a bunch of zeros, and you get the idea. Now, if we wanted to get the total of this, what we can do is just say sum this and the spill reference operator, close function and enter, and now we've got it. And if this were to only go to 131, 2030, this total is 100, which looks good. And if this goes to 630, 2030, this goes to 600, and that looks good. If this goes to 71, 2030, this goes to 700, which looks good. So that's one option where we list out all of the days. What if we wanted this to be more compact? Well, let's go to the next exercise. Exercise 2. What if we just wanted to list out the first day of the month rather than all the days? Well, let's start with our sequence function. Equals sequence. Again, the number of rows we want is this minus this plus 1, and we want to start here. Close function, enter. And that basically gives us a list of the days. Now we can use the filter function to just limit this result to just the first days of the month. I'm going to go ahead and Control-C copy this, and I'm going to say filter, and I'm going to say bring in those values, but only bring those rows in where the day of that is equal to 1. Close function and enter. And now we just get the months. And if this started at January 2nd, 2030, it skips it, which is perfect because we only want to add the $100 for the first day of every month. And if this goes to 6/30, 2030, that looks good. If this goes to 12/31, 2031, then this looks good as well. Let's put this back to 1/1, 2030 and 3/31, 2030. And once again, we can use the sequence function to calculate the $100. So we want to do this with the spill reference operator. We want to start at this fixed amount, and we don't want it to increase. Close function and enter. And now once again, we can just sum all of this, close function and enter. But what if we wanted to make it even more concise? Well, that takes us to the next exercise, exercise 3. First, we'll start with the filter function from the previous exercise, and then all we really need to do is wrap a count function around all of that. Close function and enter. Now this looks funky, but it's just because it's a date format. Let's go ahead and just change this to a general and click OK. And now we get 3. And if we change this to 6/30, 2030, we'd get 6, which is right. If we change this 7/1, 2030, we get 7, which is right. And if we change this to 1/2, 2030, it goes back to 6, which is right. Then all we need to do is multiply that by this and enter, and now we got it. Let's change this back to 1/1, 2030 and 3/31, 2030. And got it. So that's how we can set up a start and end date and then add a fixed value for the first day of every month. Hopefully this has been helpful. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Hey Excel user, if you ever need to create summary reports, check out my pivot table for beginners video. It starts at the beginning and shows how to store the data transactions in a table and then how to summarize those transactions with a pivot table report. I hope it helps unlock the incredible power of pivot tables.
This video is a production of Excel University.